From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may know all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. All hail the harmony of mind and nature.
It's just different.
I am the world changer, coded by the blue storm. My number is 19, the power of all number. I am the master alchemist, the force behind the philosopher's stone. Skilled at the art of transmutation. I am the catalytic transformer of world consciousness and planetary living. I oversee the changes of the weather. I am the thunder that shatters your world systems. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies, It was I who caused the triple Aztec monuments of the Avatar archetype to appear in the ancient temple grounds. I oversee the morning and the evening stars. I behold the creator of the fifth sun, the present world. Sent forth am I to dwell among you, calling forth a sixth sun. For the great regeneration of the world's soul, to know me is to know your own power of self-generation. To know me is to know your own power of self-generation. Self-generation is power. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies.
We were there in the beginning of time, and we will always be here. We were created in the abyss of the darkness and space. At the first explosion of energy which forged the creation of stars, planets, meteorites, and the like, our souls were there. We were energy floating as we witnessed the great explosions in the darkness where everything was birthed. We are on a journey of remembrance. Our bodies are made of stardust. These stars eventually exploded as supernovas, scattering these elements across the galaxy. Our solar system, including Earth, formed from a cloud of gas and dust that contained these elements, making us and everything around us descendants of stars. We are not just part of the universe. We are the universe itself, woven from the fabric of stars. Our existence is a continuous remembrance of the moments in time when we first emerged from the cosmic void. We walk this earth with the wisdom and memories of the universe embedded in our very being. As we look to the skies, we are reminded of our origins and the eternal bond we share with the universe.
All right. Greetings in Lakesh. Am I being heard clearly? I think so. Let me see about getting another format here. 1 second. Welcome all of you to the Sync Talk. This is a very important conversation that we're going to have. It's an advanced conversation about the holographic universe and the whole mind perceiving through us as beings. So it's very, very powerful. And if we give it the respect it deserves, we will take this so seriously and be able to rewrite how we operate in this particular reality on a whole nother level. So on a whole nother level. All right, so let's just go ahead here and let's see if we can make this a little bit bigger, the actual there should be another format here where we can make the slides bigger, because I don't see the prompts here to do so. So let's see here. Okay, so with that being stated, we are so excited about this particular session, as we are tapping into what we call the HOLOMIND perceiver. And this is the word that holon, which is dealing with systems inside of larger systems. And from our brain and mind concept, this is huge, because the brain are different, and the mind goes beyond the body. It goes beyond the planet. It can go beyond the planet. It can go beyond the galaxy. And these are all access, or when we talk about the mind, to different capabilities. And so when we speak and we think from the whole mind, we're really taking on the responsibility. For example, if we are thinking and speaking from the planetary mind, all right, then we're thinking from the whole planet's perspective. Let's talk about, if we talk about the galaxy, where there's multiple planets and, you know, stars and suns and so on and so forth. Well, we're having a galactic perspective now. We're thinking with the mind of the whole galaxy. And so what does that mean in terms of us as beings? Well, the further our mind can go, the more we can access. The more we can access, the more we can become aware of and conscious of and exercise different powers outside of ourselves that we can't by just operating on the inside of ourselves. And I say the inside, I'm just talking about the physical body inside. Okay. So this is an important conversation, because those of you that really want to advance yourself and into cosmic intelligence, this is the kind of conversation that we need to have, so that there's never anything to worry about when it comes to what's going on with entities governing mentals, humans' mental capabilities, governmental agencies, those type of things. It really is not an issue at all when we start advancing our mind. But when we limit our mind to these programs, all right, and we're not the owner operator of these programs, that's when we can get into a period of volatility and some turbulence, because we're not the owner operator. So we're not in control of what happens in these different experiences. So, you know, with that being stated, that is kind of what we're going to be talking about. So let's go ahead and get into it. I want to make some acknowledgments to the source of all creation, the Galactic Federation, the Foundation for the Law of Time, Dr. Jewel University of Immortal Sciences, Star Elders, Ancestors, Master Teachers, Indigenous Elders, the Mimic Priesthood, Taineta Muhammad, Kin 67, God rest her soul, from the Nation of Islam. Balloon Botam Jose Arguelles, who was the original founder and board member of the Foundation for the Law of Time, God rest his soul, Kin number 11. Red Queen Stephanie South, Kin 185, the current director of the Foundation for the Law of Time. All right. And Ma'at and Makaru Amen, High Priestess of the Mimic Priesthood, Kin 242. Dr. Jewel Pukram, the Chancellor and founder of the Jewel University of Immortal Sciences, Kin 210. And Vazak Votan Wanik Kimi Tahuti Shabazz, Kin number 86, also known as the opener of the cycle. So very glad to make those acknowledgments. And to all who have paved the way before us, this is an incredible opportunity to see where kind of humanity that is focused on evolving is headed, the direction that we are headed into. So this is our session on the HOLOMIND perceiver recorded, or reloaded, I should say. We definitely recording it. Our subconscious records everything, but the HOLOMIND perceiver reloaded is really about reinstituting this into our mind as we see artificial intelligence advance and its programs and whatnot. We also have human technologies that are dormant, waiting to be activated into advance inside of us that we may or may not know about. For those of us who know about it, we may not know the methodologies to activate it. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, and why this conversation is so important. All right, my name is Neb Teharka Kin, and I am the founder and the chancellor of the Synchronistic Hueman School of Enlightenment. We focus on whole mind concepts, the law of nature, the law of holonomy. We also have created the Telepathic Remembrance Group. We'll be starting our 4th season this summer. And we also indulge in the economic initiative of Synchronomics. Our objective is to build a telepathic community. That's our objective. And so this is why those who have special abilities and think this is incredible conversation for you in terms of the level of intelligence that you want to walk this earth with. And so I'm excited to be the messenger that's going to give you this particular message that can literally change your destiny. So who are we? We are a progressive group of cosmic beings that are highly intelligent, intuitive, telepathic, and laser beam focused on evolving throughout our journey of remembrance. And this is to fulfill our galactic purpose on Earth. You'll realize once you actually know your galactic purpose, right, on Earth, know your galactic purpose, your earthly purpose becomes a lot easier. Okay. All right. So with that being the case, we have an online school based in Atlanta, Georgia, founded in July of 2023. And, we accept students from everywhere. We're currently offering 12 classes. The law of time and its relationship to nature, whole mind concepts that help us improve our self-image and evolve into human technologies, and economic initiatives for small businesses in 2025 and 2026. The primary areas that we focus on, now this is something you want to take a screenshot on, because we focus on cosmic cycles, because these cycles get us into a pattern of remembrance. Cosmic anatomy. This is what our body, mind, and spirit is capable of, and we need to understand how that operates from a cosmic perspective. Cosmic science, the energy that created the cosmos is the same energy that's in us. We need to know what that is. And then cosmic memory, this is how we connect to greater states of consciousness, right, beyond the physical, so that we can demonstrate the states of consciousness in the form of being in our physical realities. It's just first becoming aware through memory that these consciousness levels even exist, and then being able to unapologetically operate with those powers from those higher levels of consciousness. Now, this requires us to practice self-governance. It requires us to operate with universal law, because if we don't, there is karma associated with mishandling such knowledge and such power and such intelligence. Okay, so we also help with that. The power of evolved consciousness, if you correct your mind, so our mind is skewed through these artificial programs, calendars that are money-based, right, that are capitalistic-based and not spiritual-based, like the Gregorian calendar. It would definitely fall into place. All right. So we are creating this mind, or accessing this mind, and moving from the information age in form. So we have to be careful. In the information age is we got access to so much information, not really knowledge or whole concepts. We just got fragments of information coming at us a gazillion miles per second. And we're trying to put them together into concepts that not only make sense, but that work in our life. So a lot of them make sense, but a lot of them don't necessarily work synergistically and synchronistically in our life. So we have to be careful. So we are moving into the telepathic age of our existence, where we can operate with these whole mind concepts and be able to operate very precisely, you see, with knowledge and intelligence over information. All right, so this is where our focus is. Who owns your time owns your mind. Change your time and change your mind. Change your mind and you will change your world. Now, this speaks to the holographic universe that we all are projecting from our mind, right? So we, in the reality that we experience from this perspective, we are projecting a hologram of what's on the inside being projected out. So whatever we're energy operating with in the inside, in our heart of hearts, we start to see in the physical form and circumstances in this holographic world. And so to correct the hologram is to correct the being, is what you'll find. Many of us try to correct the circumstance, and it just creates a feedback loop in judgment. But if we correct the behavior and the thinking, the hologram that projects our reality in the form of circumstances will correct itself. And so these are things that we're teaching with the HOLOMIND Perceiver, so that you can have a practical experience in your day-to-day life with how this can operate in your family, your job, your business, your mosque, your priesthood, etc. These are things that's very important. But the solution is that we have to evolve. We can't get there staying the same. Does that make sense? It's just staying how you are and getting everybody to adjust to you is not going to work. So what we have to do is say, how do we evolve into what he's talking about? How do we evolve into cosmic intelligence? How do we evolve so we're able to access this mind power he's talking about, so I can live my life by design and not by default? All right, well, there's some very good reasons for that. So first, let's talk about the conflicts that I think are in the way of us being able to do what I'm talking about. These are some conflicts I had to get over through my process of evolving. So through Olmec and Mayan cosmology, it presents a digital age conflicts. So we use the 13 moon calendar as a tool, right, to disrupt the systemic programming that we have from our educational systems and societal norms is disrupted by following the synchronicities. The synchronicities are all the different things that are taking place. It's working towards one or two things that's in alignment with our thinking and our hunches that we have. It's very powerful that if you follow the synchronicities and follow your intuition, you will override these programs that are limiting us to expire versus inspire, limiting us to logic and reasoning versus accessing emotional intelligence. All right. The next part that created a conflict was the law of time. And the tool that I was using to help unlock this is the Tzolk'in calendar. It's the 260-day sacred calendar. It's a spiritual calendar. And it's a fourth dimensional perspective on nature and the power of how synchronicity works. Now, what this did, when I started to follow this calendar, I became challenged between consumerism and creativity, because it seems easier just to consume creations versus create creations. But as I started to use my energy and factored it by evolving my consciousness and my creativity, I was able to see, the more I create, right, the more others can consume, but the more I evolve, right? So it's really powerful how this creativity worked, because it made me bigger. It made me more sophisticated in terms of how my thinking process and the intelligence that I wanted to use was going to work in my day-to-day life. When I was just a consumer, I was just getting into debt. I was just, trying to develop different urgencies about getting certain trends and things of that nature. And I just kept consuming to consume, and borderline almost became a hoarder. All right. So it's time to travel light. It's time to be creative and give and allow people to access your creativity as it helps them to solve issues in their life. Now, I want to talk to you about the whole mind concepts and its capability. Now, this is really what we're here to talk about. When I talk about the HOLOMIND perceiver over the last 2 to 3 years, we really hadn't been able to delve into it on a regular basis like I like, because this is an advanced part of the law of time. And so just think about it. For us to even be able to understand these concepts and to utilize them, we must be able to understand the laws of nature and how they are working, and the power of synchronicity and how it's working on our behold first. Right now, as we see that, the whole mind is, how can we access this entity, this whole mind? And as we access it, what gifts, what powers do we have to operate with this physical body? And so the first part of this, the most prevalent thing, is the rainbow body. The rainbow body is the fifth dimensional self. It's like the Akasha. It's the energetic and light body. And it's the immortal part of us. So this is like where downloads come from. This is where, being able to speak or communicate with different entities beyond this plane comes from the fifth dimensional power of the infinite mind waves. That their mind is infinite in terms of where we can reach, and thought is said to travel faster than the speed of light, which the speed of light is said to travel at 299 million kilometers in 1 second. So when you think about that, if you can think yourself into a situation and you can go as far as 299 million kilometers in 1 second, that means that you can really go from rags to riches in a nanosecond. That means that you can, impact events on the planet, as long as they're in alignment with universal law, in a nanosecond. That means that you can shift your reality in a nanosecond. So that's what's possible. Now, we may have to go through a process to get to that point, but just imagine, keep working at this, and then you're able to think about, I want some ice cream. Ice cream cone and ice cream, your favorite, just drops in your hand. Things just happen. They just materialize. And so with the fifth dimensional power of the infinite mind wave, this kind of taps in. Now, this also, when we talk about the HOLOMIND perceiver and the rainbow body, is the science of telepathy and extrasensory perception. We want to teach the science behind how it works, so you can unblock your mind, because when I start talking about this, it doesn't seem possible. It just seems like it just happens on movies. But if somebody can describe it on the movie, somebody knows something more than the movie knows about that particular capability. And so when we think about this, how does this science of this really works? The science of telepathy, the science of extrasensory perception. Because once you know how it works, now you can work it. And you can work it for the betterment of humanity. You can work it for the betterment of all the species on the planet. You can work it for the betterment of Mother Earth. You can work it so that we help people have more compassion on the planet. Not so you can be evil and take over, because it's going to be karma that's going to come associated with it if you misuse this power. All right. So this is the keys to the consciousness and awareness of a multi-dimensional being. Now, I want to show a quick video right now on a gentleman. And I tell you, he is so powerful, and I'm going to bring him on. It's just a quick video and some clips of this video. And it's going to blow your mind, because this is how we should be operating. This is why not only we're teaching the HoloMind perceiver, but to be able to have some of the capabilities that he talks about. So let's just go ahead and see how we can roll this particular video. I'm not seeing how I can access it from here. Let's see.
I'd like to follow up a little bit more on the subject of the DNA changes. Many of the people that will be viewing this have already heard that the Earth is going through her own evolution and changes, and this involves magnetic fields and subdimensional shifts, etc. Well, the human body is part of it. We're here. And so what then is happening with us in this progression, this evolution, and our own bodies, and the talk of our own bodies now as we live going through DNA changes?
About 20 years ago, I had a conversation with Jean Savoy about this same thing. And it brought up a discussion of universal forces. One of those forces is called the X factor. The forces that generate reality as we know it, including our bodies, emanate from the sun. The X factor is one of the forces that emanate from the sun that help energize the transformation that you're talking about with the human body. The X factor is a force that is emanated from the sun primarily at certain times of the day. In the morning around sunset, the hour around sunrise, and then a little bit around sunset. The X factor, another name for it, is called the Christ factor or the immortality factor. And that factor is responsible for the transformation process of physical DNA into its light form, transforming the 0.4% and all the other parts of the DNA into this energy form that I met Dejanti in that when you do certain techniques and you take in sunlight and refine it and taking in the X factor using specific crystals and energy forms and postures, your body transforms. Now, most people have never heard of this. Most people don't know it exists. They have heard that the earth is changing. They have heard that, well, most people have heard, or some people have heard, that the sun is doing some unusual things, it's putting out unusual energy. Scientists have documented that the sun is having some unusual flares. There's an unusual number of solar storms and tons of matter every second being bombarded or bombarding this planet. Well, they haven't really talked about the more esoteric or metaphysical aspects of that, because metaphysics is sort of a taboo subject for most traditional scientists. There are scientists who are studying and have studied the radiations that emanate from the sun and their effect on the body. One of those effects is to transform the consciousness of an ordinary individual into someone who is beyond the ordinary, and ultimately into their light form at its probably most extreme transformative power. And this technique can be learned and taught to anyone, in that when you learn it, you learn to take in sunlight, and when you take in a certain amount in a certain way, your body begins to change.
All right. So that's Mitchell Gibson, and we have several clips on him. We're just going to share that one this evening. But I want to talk about the synchronicities of this, because a few days ago, I would say a little over a week ago, one of the students actually approached me and said, "Did I know anything about Mitchell Gibson?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah." Because he's a psychologist, and many a times because I'm studying telepathy and extrasensory perception and all this kind of stuff, different things come into my feed, and then I click on it and listen to it. And he had a very interesting story. This gentleman was a psychologist, but let me tell you about the power of synchronicity. So she just brought it up to me, right? And not knowing whether I, tapped into it or not. Yes, I did. All right, and then I decided to share a video with a few people that I thought could really appreciate what his story was about in these different transfers that he's talking about, which what we teach in the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment with the HoloMind Perceiver Reloaded. And so anyway, I sent his I sent his wife, well, not his wife. I sent one of the students the video. And then I get this call at like 10:30, 11 at night. And she calls me with her husband on. And when she calls with her husband is excited because her husband says, "Wait a minute, you just shared this video with my wife, and this is the same video that somebody recommended to me yesterday." Okay. And that's just unbelievable. It's the exact same video, and I'm very interested in this guy. And so I also was sending out messages about the HoloMind Perceiver Reloaded. So it just shows that we're in sync with where we are. For him to, for all that to be connected, he couldn't believe that she had the video. And then he asked, "Well, where did you get it?" "You got it from Neb Teharka." "Okay, we got to call him." I just am so excited because when you see once is an incidence, twice is a coincidence. I'm showing you the initial pattern of synchronicity, right? 3 times is a pattern. So once the synchronicity is creating a pattern, you just start following these patterns now, and life starts to unfold very differently. Okay, so in showing that video and accessing these DNA programs from the sun now, this is all you have to look at this as this is all part of our mind, right? This is consciousness, the sun, the stars, all this stuff. So we have been told it's separate, but on an energetic level, through the rainbow body, through the 5th dimensional electrical light body, we're all connected, and all that's connected to our chakras and the plasmas that we have in our body, the plasma that we have in our corpus callosum, the plasma of the cerebral spinal fluid, the plasma of the blood communicates with the plasma of the sun. And so what we found is through the harmonics is plasma is how consciousness travels from one state to the next. But in the 5th dimension, in the 5th dimensional perspective, it's all connected. We're connected to it all. Now, what happens from there is that triggers and bursts the spirit of that state of consciousness. There's a spirit. The spirit of the sun are solar winds. The spirit of the earth is the wind. The spirit of the human is the breath. You see? So it bursts the spirit. And the spirit communicates with the physical body through intuition. So when we start seeing this, now this should help us start to trust our intuition more. And as we start to trust our intuition more, we become more telepathic, we become more extrasensory in our abilities. And it's just following these patterns on a consistent basis, just like we follow patterns on how to get to work, just like we follow patterns on how to be negative, just like we follow patterns on how to be positive. It's the same thing. It's just more powerful to be able to access what I'm talking about by pattern recognition and following these patterns. This is what I'm talking about when it's the keys to the consciousness and awareness of a multidimensional being. It takes practice. It's not just something that we intuit and then we go talk about to everybody and debate about. It's about receiving these intuitive flashes and following that and using that to help us change, upgrade our DNA, all kinds of stuff. is in the mix with all of this. All right. So when I talk about this being reloaded, we start with where we are, right? We use the 13 moon calendar as one of the catalysts for this, right? And this is specifically designed to disrupt the systemic programming of the Gregorian calendar. The Gregorian calendar has a lot of fallacious material in it. For example, the 12th month is December, but Deci means 10, right? The 11th month is November, and Nueve means what? 9. So we start unpacking what this is. This is just an artificial calendar made as a time is money tool and capitalism, and to account for taxation and these type of things. It's more of that and building artificial intelligence mediums, not spiritual evolution. Okay, so once I caught wind of this and I looked at the discrepancies between that and me trying to evolve or evolving, I started to follow this calendar, which get me geared toward really being able to tap into some of these whole mind concepts, so I would get these insights and be able to use them to help protect me and advance me in the civilization on this planet. So it's very, very powerful as we do that. Now, of course, I've been doing this for a while, 10 years. I'm in my 10th year. So somebody who is looking at this for the first time, I said, this is far out. But we won't send you bear hunting with a switch. We actually, in our classes and how we operate, we show you the most orderly way to operate in this manner so that you're not caught off guard and put yourself in a position to make errors in areas that are far beyond what you can conceptualize right now. All right. So today we're on the 12th plasma, right? There's that word again, plasma. And we're on the 21st day of the what? January 2026. And we also are on the 200 and the 260 day calendar. We're on the 43rd kin. And the kin expression, this is there are 260 expressions of the creator that show us how to evolve spiritually. And this is the 43rd expression. So what happens is this plasma, this radioplasma alpha activates this in our mind. All we have to do is think it through the process. And then now this kin 43 is expressing a perspective to help us advance ourselves. So let's see what that perspective is. It's in the affirmation. All right, so here we go. Kin 43, the blue self-existing night, states, I define in order to dream. Measuring intuition, I seal the input of abundance with the self-existing tone of form. I am guided by the power of self-generation. I define in order to dream, right? So you define your life in order to dream and turn your dreams into reality. Measuring intuition, measuring the impact that my intuition has on different aspects of my life when I follow it. Now, most people, they don't follow their intuition because they're afraid. But just understand, don't be afraid. Intuition is coming from a higher state of consciousness than the state of consciousness you operating with right now. I seal the input of abundance with the self-existing tone of form. So I would say unconditional love for the self. One more time to lock it in. I define in order to dream, measuring intuition. I seal the input of abundance with the self-existing tone of form. I am guided by the power of self-generation. And I am a galactic activation portal. What is that? The portal is into our memory to access greater states of consciousness, to overcome circumstances we're currently being faced with. right? So I am a galactic activation portal in order to dream, measuring intuition, abundance, form, and self-generation into me. We always define the gap. So just doesn't anything enters us, our energy field. Whew. Powerful stuff. So what is the hollow mind perceiver? What is the purpose of the hollow mind perceiver and why study it? Well, let's talk about it. This is what we're here for. The hollow mind perceiver is a hypersense organ that's telepathically imprinted in the corpus callosum. This is in the middle of the brain. It separates the left and right hemispheres of the brain. Right into that projects an overlay, right, of the human brain to trigger extrasensory abilities and total mind capabilities. Now, I just told you all this stuff we're living in our mind right now from a fifth dimensional perspective. And in living in our mind, we create this holographic universe on the earth that our projection is a what? Our reflection. And so if that's the case, by being in this whole mind and telepathically imprinting this into our brain, right? It now triggers different aspects of our brain to give us hunches, to give us insights on how to operate in difficult situations on this particular planet. Very, very, very powerful, this hollow mind perceiver. So it takes a degree of meditation and focus to imprint this into your mind. And just think about it. Plasma is semi-liquid electricity. Everything has a mathematical code to it. And there's a mathematical code to be fit. There's a mathematical code to be a genius. There's a mathematical code to be unfit. There's a mathematical code to access extrasensory capabilities in your mind. It's already there in your memories. We just operating more in the state of amnesia. We're waking up to this remembrance. Okay? And so as we're reloading this, let's go back to what are the conflicts, the HMP. So you see, you start evolving through this hollow mind perceiver that I'm talking about, that you've telepathically imprinted in your mind, in your brain, right? And you're accessing now this infinite mind wave and power, right? But the conflict is going to be you following emotional intelligence and extrasensory abilities, or you following the five senses and being limited to that. And now you just determining that you're feeling like something, but you're kind of feeling your way through it, right? So if you feel like this is what's controlling your emotions, because a feeling in this sense is a thought attached to emotions, how you thinking about how you feeling versus how you just feel. And so this creates a conflict between the empath and the telepath. But really, they're just different sides of the same coin. So if you're an empath and you develop your telepathic being, you become aware of more and get more clarity and precision of where these feelings and notions are coming from, right? And now you can give more meaning and more purpose for it and bring more healing on a faster at a faster level. Okay, so when we're talking about the hollow mind perceiver, this is what it breaks down to, right? There are 48 universal recollection. We call these UR harmonics, right? What are harmonics? Sound, right? How does the diatonic scale affect energy around us, right? Dr. Emoto spoke to the water and it changed its formation from the sound of his voice, right? And we can do that too. When we speak into trillions of cells on a daily basis, what are we telling them? Are we telling them negative stuff? Are we telling them positive stuff? Are we telling them we can evolve? Are we telling them we can't evolve? Whatever you're telling them, this, like Simon says, you're programming them to follow suit with your commands, right? We also have 11 circuits, 10 plus 1 circuits, which are synonymous with the solar system. So when the Gregorian calendar started and took out the 10 days, they took out 10 circuits of consciousness, right? Or they covered it up, or they redirected us from those 10 circuits. And those 10 circuits will be helping us today. I did a write-up on explanation of each one of the states of consciousness that was skipped over because those days were skipped. Because on the calendar, it's just linear. Oh, we just skipping some numbers on a piece of paper. In consciousness, it doesn't work that way, right? 9 time dimensions. Now, the time dimensions, time is the evolution of consciousness. So we use time to evolve what's going on in our space, right? 7 mental spheres. These are considered the cosmic thinking layers, right? So this is how you think like the cosmos thinks. And if you think like the cosmos thinks, the cosmos just keeps evolving into more universes and galaxies and solar systems and planets, et cetera, right? Also, it shows you 5 courts of power. This helps us with the power of manifestation. And the 3 holons. Holon is a system inside of a larger system. So we have the physical body temple holon, we have the spiritual etheric body holon, and we have the energetic light rainbow body holon. What happens is we've been taught that they're all separate. And this is how the ego has its way, edges God out, right? But when we teach, and I practice this, that they're all like a perfect triad. They are equilateral triangle. When those 3 areas are balanced, we can manifest anything. We can experience anything in this mind that goes far beyond the human being, goes far beyond the planet, far beyond the solar system, into the unmanifest. And when we access this, it really gives us powerful insights that we can use on this physical plane. This is why thoughts are things. Whereas if you can think it, you can create it. And you can look around on the terrestrial level or the physical world, and you can see all these different structures that's been built that came from somebody's mind, of course. And you can do it, and I can do it as well, too. But our focus has been redirected to other things, okay? And so when we talk about, I'm going to talk about the first 4 time dimensions, right? And the location. And you can see the first time dimension is located in the rear right side of the brain. This is where all the DNA programs are. This is where the 260 kin expressions, or I would say evolutionary expressions of the creator are. Also, the Psi Bank. The Psi Bank is the psychosensory information bank that records everything on the earth. All of this is in this particular area. So when we look at the HOLOMIND perceiver, and I'm gonna show it to you what it looks like. It's a grid and its activations. It shows us where to focus so we can access and make alterations and adjustments to these different aspects of our mind. Okay, let's look at the second time dimension. We call this cosmic ascension. So you can touch the left rear side of the brain, the left rear side, right? And so this includes the programs of how to ascension and enlightenment codes. This is where our concentration and focus comes in, different type of scientists, systems of knowledges that lead to enlightenment, different ways to continue our consciousness. It's flat out amazing. So that's the area of the brain. So when I'm focused, like I do, focus on sacred geometry, do brain balancing, if I'm concentrating on something, I really love to tap or touch the rear left side of my brain and focus, and my concentration levels just seems to be that much better. It's amazing, right? So this is just to give you an idea what this projection of this overlay is showing us, where in our brain we can access this, right? And so everything that I'm talking about, I can show you in the body where you can access it. That's what makes it so profound. All right, let's look at the third time dimension. This is the front right part of the brain, right? The third time dimension. Look at this. It includes all the law of time codes of the synchronic order. It also contains the 13 moon 28 day synchronistic codes, right? Also prophetic timing. And also, this is also where the sub and unconscious rewrites conventional programs of the artificial matrix. So when I say artificial matrix, I'm talking about the programs, how the world programs us, how technology programs us. This is getting rewritten. Very, very powerful. All right. So that's on the front right side. And then the fourth time dimension, we're not going to go through all 9 tonight, but the fourth time dimension, it brings you into the science of architectonics, the science of sound, right? Geometry of music, morphology, how we use spirit as a medium to prepare for time travel and these type of things. So that part, the front left side, is introducing us to that. Now, why am I talking about this? Now, some people may say, man, this is real complicated and scientific, but just imagine if we were able to make this practical in a way where you can unify just these 4 time dimensions and operate like this. You will operate with more intelligence. You in such a way, you will be ungovernable. And so your mission at that point is to practice self-governance. You don't need to be governed. You don't need to elect somebody. You elected and selected yourself as the highest office in your mind. And so now that's a whole different level of responsibility. Now you're not just responsible for what you do, but in this holographic universe, you're responsible for what happens. And what happens is always a reflection of the energy and the frequency you operate with. So once we change our innermost being, we change our outermost experience. Okay? So when we look at this, this is an example of a chart of the HOLOMIND perceiver. Now, I'm not going to go deep into it. There's a lot of different symbols on here. But what we teach you, and why I say this is reloaded, is that this is a projecting an overlay on the brain. So this side where you see the green box, that would be considered the right side of the brain. It's like you turn and face the other direction. And then, of course, you have the middle. And then the yellow glyph, which is the warrior, and the red cross, that's going to be the left side of the brain. Now, all of these codes are like interacting with your neurons in such a way that it synchronizes the material side of space and the etheric part of spirit. And so these, like you can see on here, it has 3D and 4D. These are phase alternators where mentally and spiritually we go from a 3D energy to a 4D energy, where we're able to move from sensory to extrasensory. Like right now, we're on alpha, and on alpha is the 5th day. We call it plasma, the 5th plasma of the heptad. Heptad is like a week. And the 5th day starts the telepathic quantum. The telepathic quantum is 3 days: alpha, Limi, and Celio. So on these days, we want to teach you how to practice, right, your telepathy. Right? It's a telepathic quantum. So this is a different way to think. But it just takes a few minutes to think this way to advance you and advance your civilization. Okay? So right here, this also activates the throat chakra. So this is what we call the 5th mental sphere, where we tap into God consciousness. And what happens is when we take a glimpse and tap into God consciousness, it makes us aware all of this stuff in here. You may say, man, I don't understand that. There's all these different symbols. There's different codes. There's no way I can understand that. You don't have to. All you got to do is remember it. It's dormant. This is lying dormant in your subconscious mind. And so when you start talking about it and you start thinking about it, you activate it. And it starts to send you intuitive messages. It starts to send you insights in the form of synchronicities. So this remembrance can unfold of how you became a physical being from being an etheric being. And as that remembrance happens, you get these insights, and they're just amazing insights. But those who have already been practicing this is the norm for them. So when I talk about the HoloMind Perceiver Reloaded, it's about becoming more precise with the technology that we have to live the life we design on this planet, to carry out our galactic purpose, clear up any karma that we've created in this lifetime and other lifetimes, and to help advance the civilization, help advance all the species on the planet before we make what? Our ascension. It's an amazing way to live your life, because now you are the Chat GPT. You see, there's like you ask, it's called ask yourself. Think a question to yourself and you will get answers. You'll be like, I am blown away by this. How can I learn more? And also, I made mention of this. This is like the science behind the movie Lucy, behind using the brain usage, right? Scientists say we use less than 10% of our brain capacity on a daily basis. I think it's less than that now, because we rely so much on these computers and smartphones and laptops and tablets and things of that nature. I think it's less than 5%, because our brain is atrophying because we're not using our critical thinking skills. But just think about what I'm saying to you. What if there was a way that we could, if we're at 5%, or let's just say, Neb, you're being too hard on us, it's really 10%. So let's say 10%, right? But what if there was a way in the next year or two, we could now increase it to 20%? Like the dolphins and the whale, they have like a sonar type system of telepathy in their communication. They're very advanced mentally, right? What if another 2 years after that, we were at 30 or 40%? And we were able to control not just ourselves, but material objects around us in the form of telekinesis? What if we were able to move to 50 and 60% and 70, 80%? What if we were really able to do that? This is the technology that shows us how to do it. Now, of course, you're responsible for what you do, right? So the first thing is to cause no harm, but to have access to this could really change how this whole planet operates. And it really mixes everything up, because they've created these programs of racisms and race variants and all this kind of stuff on the planet that has this whole planet and an unevolved consciousness and state. And here we come with now some information that can help us individually, that can end up helping us collectively. And this is why this is so important for us to pay attention to right now, before your mind gets totally consumed with little a, little I, artificial intelligence. And the reason why that's a travesty is because you haven't remembered yet that you got access to cosmic intelligence, but more importantly, absolute intelligence, big A, big I. And little a, little I pales in comparison to what absolute intelligence is, cosmic intelligence is. And so we owe it to ourselves to advance ourselves and advance the species by being diligent in this area. We've been given a gift. And so when I talk about reloaded, we just haven't been able to get deep into this because of all the other aspects of the law of time and the stuff that we talk about. But now we're going to get deep into it. All right. So what are some of the benefits of accessing the HoloMind Perceiver? To tap into deeper psychic abilities, normalize extrasensory abilities, override limiting programs. How about integrate evolutionary practices into your daily life? Practices only take 5 to 10 minutes a day. Integrate, increase control over your holographic universe. That means you take in self-acceptance. You are the source. You are the creator of your experience. And if something is going wrong in your outer world, you just change your inner world, right? This allows you to trust your intuition. How about tap into limitless possibilities of your subconscious mind, right? That's where all of this is that you need to remember. The HoloMind Perceiver is lying dormant in your subconscious mind. And as you learn how to build a proper relationship with your subconscious, you can access it and remember it. And you'll remember that you already know this, so you don't have to learn it. You have to remember it. What are some of the next steps? Well, if this is making sense to you, or you at least intrigued, well, the first thing you want to do is decide to evolve. Decide, I'm going to evolve from this. Matter of fact, I'm going to make evolution my number one priority. Oh, your life is about to advance tremendously. I'm not going to say it's going to get easier, but you're going to get so much better at digging up all the stuff you repressed and suppressed, and it's going to take you to heights unseen. Join our membership. Why? Because there's archives there that you could access to speed up your learning curve, right? Like the I Am Basics. What's the next thing? Enroll into the appropriate Law of Time and HOLOMIND Perceiver courses. Why? Because that's how you're going to accelerate yourself. You're going to get specialized knowledge now versus general knowledge. We do have a session every 7 days on Sunday, every Sunday at 10:30. But we talk generally, not specific. So your learning curve is going to be bigger and you're going to evolve slower. But at least you're going to evolve. But if you want to evolve at an accelerated pace, these are the next steps for you, right? How about complete, after you enroll, complete the courses? You have to say that, because you can't just take them and say, hey, I'm enrolled in them. Yep. And you're on the surface. Really complete them so that you can advance yourself, right? Integrate the evolutionary concepts that you learned in the courses into your daily life. You can do that, right? Here's one. Follow the synchronicities. Listen, you'll know them when you see them. It'd be like a coincidence. It was such a coincidence that I had one of the students bring to me, right, Thomas Gibson, right, and then now, I give it to someone else, right, and then their husband is saying, where'd you get this from? I just saw this yesterday. And then now we all having a conversation at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night about how that was so synchronistic. That is so important, because that's showing you a path, intuition, and the synchronicity is showing you, see, come this way. See, come this way. And never quit on your evolutionary process. Never. Don't say, well, I got to get my money right so I can evolve. No, evolve and you're going to attract more money. Well, I got to get in shape. I got to do this. I got to do this. No, put evolution first. And as you evolve, everything else is going to follow suit. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. So we're putting some links over here where you can look at some of the courses. As you look at the courses, there's a video, a summary of each of the different HOLOMIND Perceiver courses. We have the New Time, Living in Abundant sessions. We got ways to register for the winter courses, register for the I Am membership. It's all there, and it's affordable. And you can tap in and do things and be like, wow, if you really take it serious. I mean, I'm looking at my life 10 years ago until right now. And I am just blown away of how I think and what I'm able to get past in terms of challenges. And it's almost like effortlessly. It's amazing. All right, upcoming HMP events. So what we're planning in this HOLOMIND Perceiver Reloaded, for those of you who have been students, we are going to have online live meetups on a regular basis. All right, so every second I would say second heptad of each moon, we will have a meetup for the HOLOMIND Perceiver. And these will just be HOLOMIND Perceiver students. Also coming up will be in our 4th season of the Telepathic Remembrance Group in the summer of 2026. We also are adding the HOLOMIND Perceiver group coaching. So we'll be working in groups, and you will be working day to day in buddy teams. So we keep this knowledge fresh and we keep practicing it so that we can access these extrasensory abilities and access telepathy, just like accessing a foreign language. Going to the country and accessing the foreign language, you're going to learn it faster than if you just sit in class once or twice a week, right? All right. So we also have a HOLOMIND Perceiver that we added continuing education program. We have an assistant instructor program and a master teacher program as well. These are things that can help you go to just the lower levels of understanding into the higher levels of mastery if you so choose. All right. Some of the courses that we have now, we have offered 6 levels of the HoloMind Perceiver. Now you got to start with the first level and of the Law of Time class and the HoloMind Perceiver class. You can't take the HoloMind Perceiver before the Law of Time. So those of you that are new, if you inquire about this, I'll make sure that you're well informed on why and how this works so that you can advance yourself. And so if you were new today, you would pick the Law of Time Basics, right? And then you would also pick the HMP 421 Introductory to the Synchronic Order and Telepathy course, right? And so you could do that. If you've already taken the LOT 100 Basics and already taken the LOT 200, you can now go to the HoloMind Perceiver 421. And if you already took that, you can now go to the next, the 422, part 2 of being introduced to the synchronic order, right? HoloMind Perceiver 423 is called telepathic memorization. 424, you see what I'm saying? It's cosmic science and electricity. 425 is the galactic DNA. So now we're tapping into what the video talked about, and we have it in an orderly fashion in the classes. So we're actually in this period right now. We're in our courses, in our curriculum. Also, I want to invite you into our Sunday session. You're welcome to come. It's free of charge. And the title of our Sunday session is True Knowing Equals Accomplishment. And we're going to relate the cosmology and the HoloMind Perceiver to that topic so that you can truly know and truly accomplish in your life, living abundantly in the new time. All right. So I am thrilled about this. And I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedule. It's worth it to advance your mind versus wait on an institution, an educational institution that's really not designed for you to access whole mind concepts. It is so powerful that you can now tap into that aspect of the intelligence of yourself and do it. And be guided by that and trust it and watch you walk on water and glow in the dark. What I want to do right now, because I'm wrapping up, does anybody have any questions that they like to ask about the HoloMind Perceiver Reloaded? This is a phenomenal series. It's actually 21 levels of mastery. We have 8 levels that we have out there, and that we're going to be adding in the next semester in the summer 2 more levels. So we'll be at 10 levels of the HoloMind Perceiver, and we're going to keep adding until we get the whole group or groups to 21. But this is phenomenal. Okay, this is not being taught in the mainstream, but I'm telling you, we're teaching it here. And we need something different. We need to take our attention off of what ICE is doing and different government agencies are doing and entities and putting so much energy into them. We need to take that same energy and put it into our own evolution and watch how poised and intelligent and how compassionate you become with Mother Earth and your capability to manifest on this planet. It is flat out amazing. All right. I don't see any questions, but here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Those of you that are watching, get back to me and let me know, are you interested in this movement? Are you interested in moving now with what changes we made? If you're new, you don't even know about the changes of this holographic world that we're creating through the HoloMind Perceiver. And it really is just we're redefining what the mind is so that we can be more, know more, do more, and have more while we're in this physical existence. So reach out to me and let me know you're interested in participating in this movement so we can help you get in where you fit in, find your place in space so you can start where you are. Doesn't matter where you are, it matters where you're going. You start where you are and experience this like I have. And I know if you experience it like I've had, you're going to be able to do some tremendous things that you probably cannot do right now. So on behalf of the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment, the faculty, the staff, and all the students, I want to thank you for listening today. You can reach me, you can see in the chat at profcosby811@gmail or Neb Teharka at synchronistichuman.com. The Prof Cosby is a backup to the Neb Teharka email. And so I will end this by saying, in Lakesh, and I want y'all to share this with people. Once we set the replay link, I want you to share this with people because there's some smart people out there that are interested in this type of stuff. They just don't have a school or a group that they can get with to exercise it. Now they do. So in Lakesh means I am another you. Alakin means you are another me. Hotep, Hetepu, and Namaste. And remember, evolution is the solution. I'll see you in your holographic universe, changing this whole world. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your creation. Peace.